Hey everyone. All right, spotlighting myself. Does everybody see me? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah.
You look beautiful. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I got a new choli. Isn't that cool from Melodia?
Oh, that's lovely.
Look at the design. Isn't that nice?
I know. That Melodia is still out there.
They don't have cholis often, but I always go and check, especially like right before Christmas when I think they're trying to get stuff out there for Christmas presents. So I got this one for my husband, and then I got a mock turtleneck one that cuts off right here.
Oh wow!
And they both went and got one too. So you'll see us wearing them. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Okay, grab your finger symbols. So this is level 2, week 1. Happy New Year. Everybody mute yourself.
Oh gosh. Oh, sorry.
You guys are so chatty. I love it.
We just got here. You know, it's a bit crazy.
Chatty. Okay. Do y'all chat during flow? I hope not. You're not supposed to talk. Anyway. All right, so let's get started. So here we are, week 1. Happy New Year. It's level 2. So it's level 2 for January. So tonight we're focusing on a new year, a new you. And let's look at the foundational things that really make FCBD special for us. So we're going to look at the posture tonight and try to keep reminding ourselves about posture as we dance through breaking down the single bump and the double bump. Okay. So we're going to break those steps down, break one down, drill it, put it in a drill. I have specific steps in the drill. I'd love it if you'd memorize it. And then I'd love different people to offer to lead the drill or lead half a song. And then we'll break down the double bump and do the same thing. And then finish up with another drill. Sounds good? All right, so let's start off. You just follow me, and I'm just gonna dance and play your finger symbols. And let's just get warmed up, and then we'll do a little stretching. Chords everywhere. All right. If anybody's found any new music, I'd love to hear about it. I end up using the same songs, right? 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. If that's too loud, anybody just let me know. Inhale, arms up. Grab the right wrist. Firmly press into the feet. Soften the knees just a little bit and pull your right wrist over. So I want you to focus on feeling the space between the rib cage and the hip open. So those can be tight muscles there on the side. The obliques get tight the more we sit through the day. So we want to open those up so we can get a nice twist in the hip and a nice bump on the right side. Good, and contract the low belly and come back to center. So feet firmly pressed into the floor, toes pressed into the floor. Grab the left wrist, reach up or stretch up and arc over to the right. So pulling the left wrist over to the right side of the room. Open the space between the rib cage and the hip. So really lifting that rib cage up, contracting on the right side of the rib cage will help you open that space, keeping the knees just a little soft so the hips can flex. Good, and contract the low belly and come back to center. Press the shoulders down. Let's keep the hips forward, twist and open to the right side of the room. Look back at your right hand, wiggle the fingers. Good, come back to the front, lift the arms up. Keeping the hips shining to the front, let's twist and open to the left side and wiggle the fingers, look back at your left hand. So getting a good stretch here all the way through the neck. Come back to the front, lift the arms up. Let's grab the right wrist again, this time focusing on really pulling the hand, the right hand, left hand pulling the right hand, pressing the right foot in the floor. Now pull that stretch all the way from the wrist down to the outside of the right foot. So this stretch is for the entire body this time. Good, contract the low belly, come back up, grab the left wrist with the right hand and up and over, firmly pressing the feet into the floor. Now feel it from the left foot all the way up to the left hand. So contract the right side of the rib cage and feel it open up more on this side, all the way up. Feel it in the armpit. Good, contract low belly, come back to center. Let's let the hands float down, but they don't just get to float down normally. We have to keep the arms in good dance posture because we want to build that foundation of good dance posture. So rolling the shoulders back and down, keeping the elbows lifted, thumbs down, pinkies up, sliding the hands up with the arms a nice soft curve. Good. Letting the palms of the hands meet, and as they come down through the center, keeping the elbows lifted and shoulders rolled back. Good, so hands come down to the hip, shoulders rolled back, and now pinkies up, elbows down, nice soft curve in the arm, keep the elbows lifted. Touch the fingers. Now palms of the hands together, bring it down through the center. Good, shake it out. All right, I'm gonna turn the music off and we'll come back to our stretch. Awesome. Okay, so let's bring our hips into a neutral position and then make a big circle and get it smaller and smaller and come back onto center, and let's go in the opposite direction. So now the hips are going to go out to the left, behind center, off to the right of center, in front of center, big circle, and make it smaller. And contract low belly to help you guide the hips around. You feel the weight shifting around on the feet. And come back onto center. Nice. Now bring the right foot forward, heel down, toe flexed up. And we're going to brace ourselves above our left knee. So contract low belly and bend over as much as you want to. The goal here is to feel a stretch in the back of the right leg. And then press the foot down and roll the back up. Good, roll the shoulders, pick them up, Roll them back and down. Now step back with the right foot. So twist the hips a little bit, pressing in both feet into the floor and come up on the ball of the back foot, bending both knees and contract the glutes and contract the low belly at the same time. This is the only time we'll contract our glutes in class. So just put your hands here to remind you this is only for our stretch. Okay? So slowly come down just a little bit, as much as you're comfortable with, and press back up and down and press back up. Good. So firmly plant the right foot down and let's come up on the heel of the left foot, toe flexed. Brace yourself with your hands above the right knee. So bend over as much as is comfortable for you until you feel a stretch in the back of the left leg. And then press the foot down and roll up when you're finished. And let's squeeze the shoulders up, press them down and back. Awesome. So bring the right foot in front of the left. No, wait a minute. Left foot back to the front. No, we just did this side, didn't we? We just did this side, so that was right. Okay, now left foot back. Come up on the ball of the left foot. Contract the glutes and contract your low belly. All right, put your hands here, just to remind you, contracting glutes only during the warm-up, not while we dance, and slowly low down. Slowly press up into the feet, lower down, pressing into the feet to push you up. Good. So just kick it out. All right, let's turn to face each other. Inhale, arms up, and get ready for our gratitude, bringing the hands to your heart center. Is this your first gratitude of 2024?
No.
No, we had one Tuesday, but we'll celebrate the first one with you guys. Yeah. Awesome. So opening up for the space that you're in. Gratitude throughout the room, across the world, hands up overhead for lotus blossom, symbol of enlightenment. And down to the floor, so you can either gesture down to the floor or go ahead and bend and squat. Come on down here with me. Keep the knees close together. This helps with balance. And then bring your hands to your ears for the music that we dance to, and the floor again. And then to your forehead for our ancestors or teachers, and then our heart for our ancestors. Gesture out for everyone we dance with, everyone we will dance for. And bring it all back in very gracefully as you come up, gathering all those elements and pull them back into your heart and breathe in gratitude. Feels good. So posture is our vehicle for dance, right? It creates an open canvas for the dance in our body to demonstrate the steps as accurately as we can for our followers, and also to take care of our body. So we want to stay in posture as a way to keep a safe ability to safely do the steps. So it has a lot of different meanings. It's good for your body, it's good for protecting your body, it's good for communicating, right? And it just, if you just look at your body as like an open canvas when it's in a good posture, it feels like art, feels like you're creating art. So our contractions, we continually are trying to develop our strength in the contraction. So I want you to take a diagnostic in tonight's class as how strong do you feel in your low belly? How does it affect your dance when you're dancing tonight? How strong do you feel contracting the middle back? So let's just go through our dance posture really quickly and make sure everybody's on the same page. So feet flat, let's shift our weight in our heels, knees soft. So knees should never lock out. So I want you to pay attention tonight. If your knees are locking out, if you try to make a more conscious effort to keep the knees soft or a little bit softer than normal, how does that affect the steps that you're working on? How does that affect your stamina? How does that affect the way that you feel in your body that you're emitting out to everyone else? Okay, so we want a neutral pelvis. Remember, if we've got a curved back, that could potentially not feel good in the low back. So you want to get your pelvis in a neutral position by contracting the lowest part of your belly and releasing the lowest part of your back. We also want loose glutes. Okay, so if you're rounded like this, that's going to cause your legs to straighten. So if we're in a neutral pelvis, that encourages soft knees. So sometimes these two can kind of work together, or they could work against you all at the same time. All right, so upper body, we want to lift up and out of the hips, have a uplifted, proud chest, shoulders back and down. So believe it or not, where your shoulders are has a lot to do with your balance. If you let your shoulders creep forward, then that's going to tip you forward and make you feel off balance. But if you can hold your shoulders back, say, feel like they're kind of behind your center, that can help your balance. And if you think about the shoulders, the contraction in the middle back and the contraction as in the low belly, as like this really strong triangle working together to help you be more stable and strong when you're dancing. To have those three things coordinated with each other makes a big difference, right? All right, so shoulders down, nice soft curve in the arms, no matter where your arms are. So when they're up overhead, shoulders pressed down, elbows open, and nice soft curve in the arms. So you're never going to see this. You would in other classes or maybe yoga, but not in FCBD style belly dance. And we'll take our hands down to the hips. We're always going to have that nice open elbow. So it's not pointed towards the back, it's open to the sides. Shoulders rolled back and down, nice soft curve in the arm. And remember, we don't rest our hands on our hips. We're just touching, kind of tucking the thumb and touching the side of the pointer finger, just to create a frame. Yeah. So when the arms are here, we want to frame, but they're not as close together as they are when the arms are up overhead or down by the hip. So they're wider to create a bigger frame. We still have the soft curve, and I want to make sure my elbows are lifted up and pointed towards the back of the room. So what comes into play here is this contraction in the middle back and shoulders rolled back and down, and using the back muscles to support the arms. So if we take the arms up, contract the middle back, roll the shoulders back and down, and sit the arms back down on these nice, strong back muscles, then you feel so much more supported and strong in your steps. Yeah? So dance angle puts you in your FCBD box. So if this is my front, my toes and my hips are going to go to the front left corner. Generally, my shoulders open to the front, but sometimes my shoulders and my hips are both in dance angle. So find dance angle in your room. So find your front, maybe your front online is right at your computer. So your left front corner would be to the left of that. And here we all have different front points on the curtain in this room, but we're all going to go over to this corner here and then open our shoulders to the front, or the shoulders could also be into dance angle. It just depends on the step. So dance angle helps us communicate with each other, gives us all better sight lines. So posture and dance angle, I want us to think about that a lot. Those are our foundations, and we don't want to forget that when we're starting off for the new year. Let's really focus on the foundational things. Okay, so single bump is a 2-count step. The lower body is going to anchor, the left side is going to anchor while the right hip swings forward and back, and the right foot is going to slide forward and back like we're on a ski. So let's get back into dance angle. So hips and toes pointing towards your front left corner. And just go ahead and put your arms here, or you can not think about your arms yet. I'm going to slide my right foot towards dance angle and then slide my right foot back towards the back right corner. So slide it forward and back, forward and back. So now I want you to focus on that left leg anchoring, the low belly contracted, the middle back contracted, and you're sliding on the ski, right foot forward and back, right foot forward and back, And that is not taking you off of your center. It's not pulling you over. You're able to completely anchor yourself on the left side of the body. So the left foot is flat. This is in the bump family, so the right foot's on the ball. So we're going to take the right ball and we're going to put it around the left toe or slightly in front of the left toe. And then I'm going to step back and take my right ball somewhere behind the left heel. So it's not a huge step like the Charleston. It's small, right forward and right back. So when you step forward, that's on count 1. When you step back with the right foot, that's on count 2. So let's try it together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So what I'm looking for here, and I'm just going to turn to face you, in the hip is a pendulum type of effect, where I'm going to push in the ball of my foot to push my hip up when my right foot's in the front part of my ski. And then when my right foot's in the back part of my ski, I'm going to release my right hip as it releases down in the middle and then pushes it back up when my right foot gets to the back of the ski. So I want to release, push, release, push, release, push, release, push. So here's the pendulum, because I want to make sure I lift it in the front, release it in the middle, lift it in the back, release it in the middle. Make sense? Yeah. So to achieve that, you have to have this low belly contracted and the middle back contracted, because that helps you stabilize your body to where you can control the hip like this and allow the hip to get that swing. Yeah. And I have, everybody's different, but I have a little bit of twist forward. I have wider hips. My teacher had wider hips. So we ended up developing that slightly twist forward with the right hip. But if you have very narrow hips and it doesn't feel comfortable for you to twist, that's okay. All right. So left foot has about 100% of the weight. Then we transfer about 10% of the weight to the front, release it, 10% of the weight to the back, release it. Okay. We're pushing with the right foot. And we want to make sure it stays on the ball. Remember, in level 1, we don't want to pump that heel. When we're in our bump family, we want to keep that heel lifted, keep the foot engaged, keep the leg engaged. Make sense? And not flopping the heel. Okay? All right, so let's look at the arms. So arms are at countertop. They're just creating a nice frame here. And when my right hip goes forward, you're going to feel that latissimus muscle connected to the back of the arm. You'll feel a little bit of pull there. And I want you to engage here more to keep that right arm open as the right hip comes forward. And then when it comes back, it doesn't feel as intense. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And my hands tend to float a little bit because you're going to be playing finger cymbals. So now we're going to pivot with that. So when you pivot with it, we're just going to do it in number in equal to 2. And anytime we turn away from the lead, it becomes flock of birds. So we're just watching each other, and we'll work in divisible numbers, divisible by 2, and we'll eventually come back to the front in however long it takes. Yeah. So whoever can't see anyone else is leading in flock of birds. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Start to pivot. So when I pivot, I'm going to press forward when my right foot is forward and when my right foot is back. Press forward, 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 forward. So what I'm looking for here is the hips and the toes are going into dance angle, and my upper body is opening to the front. Make sense? Any questions? No? So one extra little thing that Carolina talks about that this really helped me is if you visualize you've got like a strap around your waist, and your waist is being held by the strap, and your hip is moving down and away from it and back. So if it's holding your waist in place and your hip is moving forward and back, and your waist, it's not like your waist and your It's pulling your whole upper body. It's just trying to isolate the hip. So that visualization of having some kind of strap or belt around your waist that's stabilizing it, I think helps me to isolate the hip better. All right. Okay, so, yep. Remember, squeeze the latissimus. Remember all of your posture. And let's work on our first drill. Okay, so first drill I have on the board, and I tend to write in kind of these little funky acronyms. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys in the room, and then I'll bring it up to the screen. So let's start out with our core family bump, pivot bump, and let's do arm 1 and 2. And then we'll do our single bump, and we're going to pivot the single bump. The single bump only pivots to the left, over the left shoulder. Then let's do an Arabic or rhythmic undulation, and let's use that to pivot in the opposite direction to add some texture. So we'll pivot over the right shoulder for that. Then let's get a shimmy in here, and let's do our Turkish shimmy or our forward back shimmy, and then take it from the halves. So we'll use a half turn. And then we're going to do swivel or Egyptian and move it back. Okay, so I want you to single bump forward. So how many of you guys use the single bump traveling forward? Yeah, maybe not everybody. Probably have never seen that before. So let me show you what that looks like, and then I'll show you guys the drill. All right, so single bump moving forward is really a really great travel to wake up your audience, because they see you coming, right? They're like, whoa! But then you need to do some type of step to move yourself back into the center stage position, or back into your lighting, or back into a safe space where you won't fall off the front of the stage or get too close to someone's lap. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to establish my step. Maybe I'll pivot first, maybe not. And then I'll go my right foot forward and back, and I'll pull myself. So I do forward, I pull, I'll drag the left foot, and back, and I'll drag the left foot. So I need to do something else to move back. So try it with me this time if you want to. So facing the front, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and let's go 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then if you bring your arms up and do like a swivel step back, it's just really noticeable because there's such a drastic change in the arms. Okay. All right, so let's go over the drill again. I got lots of stuff written on the board for both classes. So single bump, arms 1 and 2. Oops, sorry if I'm hit my microphone. Then SB is single bump. Then we're going to pivot single bump to the left. Then we're going to do Arabic or rhythmic undulation, whichever you'd like to call it. We're going to pivot to the right for some variation. This creates texture when we use different steps to pivot in different directions. Then we're going to do our Turkish or our forward back shimmy and a half turn. So that's a half turn to the side walls. And then we're going to swivel. That's your Egyptian. And we're going to move back to prepare to move forward. So a lot of times we do the forward first, and then we do a step back. But this time we're thinking ahead because we planned our drill. Hello. And we're going to travel back to create space to travel forward with a single bump. And then we'll start over again. Okay. So if you travel back first and then you travel forward here, you should be in the same place you started. But if not, we can work it out later. Okay. All right. Does anybody want to lead? And I'll email you guys this drill. Anybody want to lead? Well, these girls can lead then. I'll lead it. All right.
I could try it, but I hope that I'm not out of sync with the music.
Okay. Well, they can try it. And why not?
All right, we can follow you guys.
There'll be another drill, so we can try half of the song. You want to try half of the song on the next drill?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Because then if the lag's horrible, you guys don't suffer for the whole song.
It's fine. I tend to, I know it's not suffering. I tend to think sometimes you're following different people and you hear the music differently. And then you have to pick, well, am I going to follow the person or am I going to follow the music? Because if I follow the music and don't follow my leader, then we don't look together. So ultimately,
Yeah.
if something's wrong, you just need to follow your leader. So you look cohesive, you know, but those are real life challenges. It's not just online challenges. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, here is the drill. It's the very top one, you guys. And so if you guys change the lead, where would you change the lead in this drill?
Probably do a swivel back to a half turn.
Swivel. So if you, so you're using swivel to step back, so then you would turn to, or you turn to circle and then let the new lead step back.
Go forward and come back. Here.
Okay, so
We're doing a single bump forward.
You are?
And we have to get back to our regular position.
No, because you move back ahead of the single bump. That's why I was saying this one's different. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay.
So
that's only like a fallback. If you have to swivel back after single bump forward.
well, I'm just saying that would be a logical place for
Yeah.
you to switch the lead.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
all I was
It's true.
saying.
It's true.
Or you could do, yeah.
Or you could do
If
it
you're-
with
if
your
if the goal is
Turkish
to get,
shimmy.
If the goal is to get the whole drill in with the leader, that was where I was thinking.
Yeah.
logical.
Yeah. Okay, so she said her logical place would probably be the swivel step, doing a half turn and moving around. But we also said it could be with the Turkish shimmy, forward back shimmy. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Got your finger symbols on? I hope so. I love these steps. These are like my favorite steps. like Helen's extra little arm wind up thing. It's like she's playing a guitar.
It's just a little
Woo!
flare, like, woo!
How did it feel?
Nice
How was it to follow?
It's good.
So open your mic.
I like that combo. I like that swivel step backwards and single bump forwards. It looks really good.
It's different because if you're like me, I always think about traveling forward first and then trying to fix it.
Yeah.
I never think about trying to prepare for it and then
Yeah.
traveling.
But you have to
And does
rely
that-
on your number. Have to rely on the number 2 person not deciding to fade.
It's true. It's true. Good point.
That's okay if that happens.
Yeah, it's
Is
true.
this
If
on
it
it?
happens, it happens. I mean, because this is improv. It's not, you know,
Improv.
we don't plan it. It's not choreographed. But so, any other thoughts or comments? No. Great drill.
Good drill. Got
Okay.
better the second time.
Got better the second time you led. Okay. So don't forget your dance angle. Helen, sometimes it looks like you're flattening out just a little bit. And remember with this, we really want to show that right hip towards the audience. So we want to make sure they're looking at the right side, you know, rather than more like this, you know. So I think a lot of you look a little tight here in the hips. So I'm seeing, like with Erin, I'm seeing a little bit of up and down, but I'd love to see more. Like when you release that hip, can it go below the line of the left hip? You know? So it's going to come up above the line of the left hip here, but can it release below the other hip and come up above back here? You know, so you really have to get that stability of the contraction in the low belly to anchor this left side, and the right side can freely swing away from it. And Jory, your hips are tight as well. Jory. Oh, yes. Jory, your hips are tight as well. I'd like to see more release in the middle so you can pick it up and try to pick it up more in the front and back and release more, like release that right hip down below the left hip and still anchor yourself with your low belly. So another thing that can happen here, because we've got that connection in this latissimus muscle to the back of the arm here, is what can happen is the arms tend to do like this, right? Which is what Victoria, where Victoria is right now. And remember, just because you're there right now doesn't mean you're always going to be there. It means you're working towards strengthening, right? And working towards stabilizing. Well, you can let part of your body swing away and then keep the other parts of the body firmly rooted. You know, so that is a back contraction to me, and that strength and just building these muscles. So we're allowing, there's a little bit of movement in the arms, but it's not going to be like this, right? Because when it's like this, then everything gets involved, and all the shoulders and the head and everything are moving, and we're trying to isolate just the right hip area and the right leg. Yeah. So Jen, I see a little bit of a 90-degree angle arm, which to me looks like tension, right, for you. So it's want to hold that frame, but not let the arms look like they're, you know, robot arms. Yeah. And Deborah, I mean, I didn't see any issues. I thought it looked really good. I'd love it if you could wear like a bright hip scarf so I could get a better contrast on your hip movement compared to your sofa. You don't have to move furniture or anything. Just wear it. Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, that would be good. What is that, like that's one of those stretch bands for strength. Yeah, that works. Absolutely. Okay, any other questions?
No.
So clarifying, this is all about the say. This is not about popping at all.
Pop. So your question is, it's not about
Like a
popping.
hip pop, right? It's not as much about the hip pop as it is hip sway.
Say that one more time. It's not as much about the hip popping.
So it's not as much about making like a real distinct hip movement at that end as it is about that sway that's happening?
Well, there's a sharp when it pops when it hits the front, and then there's a release, and then there's a sharp when it hits the back. And oftentimes, like if I had something hanging, it would go forward, back, forward, back. So you're going to see like something, some fringe or a tassel or something swinging with the hip. So like I said, I have a little bit more twist here. So I tend to go here and twist and back and up, but your hip is coming up because that's what the bump family does, is the hip goes up and down. But because we're moving our foot forward and back, we get a little bit more twist sometimes to the front, but it all depends on your body. You don't have to get that twist. But you're asking me if you need some kind of sharp definition on either ends of that crescent shape in the hip, right?
Well, yeah, and I think I was so glad we were at the pop and the weight distribution, because it's communicated to me over time. I think I had become more concerned with whether or not it was popping, and so I was putting more weight into that foot than was necessary, and I don't need to be putting weight into that foot.
Yeah, it's about 10% weight. So I think it's just enough of pushing into the ball of the foot to lift the hip up in the front and back. But I mean, your hips looked good, but if you're putting too much weight in that foot, that means your body's weight might transfer into that right foot, and we definitely don't want that.
Yeah, on that turn, that's what I was noticing. And now I have to I think that's why I'm getting the tension, is because now that the weight is different down here, I'm recalibrating up here, which is good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's look at double bump then. You guys ready to move on? Yeah, okay. Double bump. Okay, so double bump looks like this. You can follow if you already know. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the feet are the same. We're still wearing a ski on the right foot. Oh, let me do it to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I really love about the contrast of these two steps together is because we're bumping twice in the front and twice in the back. If you have like a change to the rhythm or the melody in the music, this is something really nice to switch from a single to a double or a double to single, because it really looks like you're moving, you're illustrating the music beautifully. You know, and if there's something that takes a little bit more time to develop, having 2 bumps to the front and 2 bumps to the back might be a really nice thing to put with it. Okay, so it feels the same, but there's 2 bumps now. So the hips are doing that same crescent shape, releasing in the center, but now let's look at the arms a little bit more, okay? Because what's happening with the arms is I want you to create this tension as you've got these really active arms here. So the right arm is super active. And what's happening here is when the right hip comes in front, the right arm's going back. So we've got to contract more in this shoulder blade to hold the shoulder back, because in essence, what's trying to happen is we're trying to get the hip and the arm as far away from each other as possible, or the hip and the elbow, right? So we're not going to go like this, because now we know that to go in the opposite direction is generally what we're going to do for belly dance. We don't go like this, yeah, with our swivel step. So we're going to take the hip far away from the arm. We want to keep the shoulder back, right? By contracting in that right shoulder blade, and you're really going to feel this latissimus muscle connecting here in the back of the arm, because you're going to have to pull the arm back by contracting that. Okay, so if you visualize, like Mega always said, if you visualize archery, like you're pulling a bow and arrow here, so you've got a lot of tension, but we've got a nice round curve with both of the arms, and then these arms are more passive. Like there's a lot more activity and energy here, and then there's more softness here as the hip goes to the back and the right arm comes to the front. So hip goes front, right arm back, left arm at countertop, and then the right arm comes to countertop as the right hip goes back and the left arm goes up. Yeah, so try it with me. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Active, passive. Contracted, released. Contract, released, active, passive, active, passive. So even though I'm saying passive, we're still really contracted here in the middle of the back. We just are not contracted as much here in the right shoulder blade with the right arm going forward, yeah? But we want to keep the shoulders back the whole time, yeah? So also your gaze could be two different things. Sometimes we just look forward the whole time, and sometimes we look into open space. So I might look towards my dance angle when my right arm is up, and then I might look over my right arm when my right arm is down. It's not designated. You have an option. I'd say maybe pay attention to what your leader's doing. Sometimes if we're all doing the same things, it looks a little bit like, you know, Animal Kingdom, like all the meerkats come out of their little holes and they all look this way and they all look that way. It looks a little too robotic if we all do the same thing, but so just make it look natural, right? Okay, so we've got the feet are the same, but we have 2 bumps. We've got the right foot is sliding forward and back, just like it was with single bump. And now we have the right arm pulling back behind the right ear, latissimus muscle squeezed. And then we release the right arm to the front and the left arm comes up, but keeping the elbows lifted. And the gaze, so 2 options, not specific. And we can pivot with this. And it's gradual. So remember, we're pushing in a productive pivot, whether the right foot is forward or back. And we're only pivoting over the left shoulder. So try it with me. All right. And I want you to think about when my arms are up and I start to go in this, think about the arms blooming open or blooming from the top down here. And I just get like a really beautiful visual when I think about that type of start. 1, 2, 3, 4, pivot, 2, 3, 4, push, 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 push. Watching everybody, it's flock of birds, watching everybody, flock of birds, continually moving around. So push forward, push forward, push forward, push forward, no matter where your foot is. You're pushing forward, all right? Feels good? Good. Any questions? No? Okay, so let's look at the second drill. So now we're going to put the double bump and the single bump together. Oh my God. I know, right? So do you guys have a preference? Think about, do you like to do the cascading arms of the double bump, arms are up, and then you open this right arm and then you do the single bump? Or do you like to start with the single bump and then bring the right arm up to do the double bump? Which do you like? And if you pivot one, do you pivot the other? Do you pivot both? Maybe, depends on what the music's telling you to do, right? So I remember Carolina saying she liked to do double bump first and then go into single bump, but you could do them either way. All right, so what we're gonna look at for our drill is DB is double bump. So I tend to do little acronyms like that so I can quickly look down and see my board and just remind myself what I'm trying to do until I memorize it. So we're gonna do a double bump starting off, pivot to the left, then a single bump, pivot to the left. Then we're going to kind of just exit out and ground ourselves with an Arabic or rhythmic undulation. We're going to go back into our Turkish shimmy or forward back shimmy and then take it to the sidewalls in a half turn. And then we're going to come back to our core step, which is our bump family. And you have the option of doing arm 1 and arm 2. You don't have to pivot with both arms. You can do arm 1 and then go into arm 2. And then, or pivot arm 1, pivot arm 2, whatever you want to do. And then come back into single bump, but think about what's my transition. So if I'm here, am I going to go into single bump? Then I have to lower the left arm, move the right arm over. If I am in my double bump here, I'm sorry, if I'm my single bump or pivot bump with arm 2, then I could just lower the right arm, and that would probably be really easy for followers to see if I move the right arm. And if I'm here, yeah, I'm on arm 1 from the pivot bump, then we already talked about the left arm lowering down and the right arm widening out. So there's movement in the right arm no matter which one you do beforehand. Then we're going to do, after the single bump, we'll move forward. But this time I want you to think about, okay, when we move forward, depending on what situation you're in, you don't necessarily have to fix it by moving back immediately with the next step. So what if we stay there, we do a double bump and we pivot it, and then we move back with swivel step. So it's like we've moved forward, we're going to stay there for another step or two and then move back. So I think moving around in different ways on the stage makes it really interesting for your audience too. Okay, so getting rid of, oh, well, I want to take a picture. Oh no, I showed you guys. All right, so getting rid of the top one. This helps whoever's leading if I just remove it. So double bump, pivot, single bump, pivot, Arabic, Turkish shimmy, half turn, pivot bump with arm 1 and 2, single bump, move it forward, then a double bump, and pivot and a swivel back. So if you notice here, I have given you double bump and single bump, and then we do single bump and double bump. So you've got all of it. Like if you have a preference for one or the other, you get to try them both in this drill. All right. Jillian, do you still want to lead? Yeah? Okay. All right, so I'm going to put the board back down over here. And let me get the TV on for these girls. You would like, so you can see. Spotlight Jillian. So Jillian, let's see. Why don't you turn to face us? Like if you guys want to circle up, and then you face the camera and Andrea's behind you. Does that make sense? So see, now you're facing away, but then you'll circle and you'll turn to face the camera, and that'll let me know you're ready to switch to the next group. Okay? Does anybody else want to lead? Anybody else remember that drill? So memorization is a really good thing to practice, you guys. It's a skill you have to develop, right? Oh, Helen says, Helen's got this phrase that lets me know she's not feeling too confident. She calls it putting on the Ritz. It's from an old movie called Young Frankenstein. Okay. So, it always makes me laugh. All right, here we go. Great job. Thank you, Jillian and Andrea. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Erin and Victoria. Awesome. All right, how did that feel? Do you like that drill? Yeah?
That's more challenging for me.
What's more challenging?
Switching to that double back.
Double bump. Double bump, yeah. Switching to the double bump from.
Well, let's see. I think it was we did the swivel back and then getting back into the double bump. Double bump is a challenge.
Isn't, because I was watching Jillian, and I thought it was such a nice transition, you know, from Egyptian or swivel to the double bump. But
I find double bump to swivel hard.
Oh, sorry.
I found double bump into swivel quite challenging.
So the opposite.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
It was a little difficult to catch, and it almost looked like the leaders were having trouble transitioning into it, out of double bumping into swivel step.
100%.
Okay.
I think I missed it every single time.
Did you?
I felt I wasn't signaling it clearly enough. Like I think I'd need to practice that transition a bit more to make it clean.
Okay. Good point. So I think coming out of the swivel into the double bump, it's real important to make that first gesture really strong. Like you go from here to here. So we're here, swivel, 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 anchor here, you know? So I think it's true because your left foot's already flat, your arms are already up. So it's a difference between a split and both arms up. And then stepping forward and taking that hip forward pretty soon on the one. But let me look at, yeah, I love how everybody's playing with it. Let me look at, so swivel. Oh, I'm sorry. So double bump. So it's all about bringing that right arm up and then twisting the right side. So yeah, you're here where your right arm is kind of hidden for those that are behind you, and then bringing that right arm up quickly and then getting the right hip going. So yeah, that is, to me, I mean, that would be a challenging transition of 2 steps to follow. I agree with that.
Would it be legal to just sort of quickly change your angle to flat and then go into the Egyptian?
Well, if you change your angle to flat before you go in the Egyptian, you're signaling that you want to fade.
Oh.
Because the flat body position is a cue for fade.
Oh, okay.
Probably what I would do is just do something big and dramatic between the two. I would go from double bump into a rhythmic undulation or Arabic, and then flatten my left foot and go into swivel step. So I would just add a step to make it a stronger contrast between those two. Yeah. But I see what you mean. Yeah. All right. And your hips look really good, Deborah. That really helped to tie that little plastic yellow thing around your.
I'll wear a hip scarf next week.
Yeah. It's all about color contrast with your background for online.
Right. And I turned on some other lights, so.
Yeah. All right. Everybody feel good?
Yes.
All right. Inhale, arms up. So if you're stopping here, just make sure you get a little bit more stretch. So stretch out the sides, twist and open to the right side, twist and open to the left side. And if you want to forward bend, soften your knees, kind of brace yourself above your knees and arch the back. So a little cow, and then a cat position. So cat position, head and tailbone are up and the middle of the back is down. And then cat position, the head and the tailbone are down and the middle of the back is up. And then roll on up, exactly. And you have to make a little round sound. All right, good, shake it out. Great job, you guys. So now we're going to transition from level 2 to level 3. So if you're going to stay for level 3, stick around. And if not, we'll see you later. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. Deborah, especially stay warm.